No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for Monday, April 17th, 2023. Shout out to the early birds. Good old JM Jeff Meacham. By the way, I have an announcement involving Jeff here in just a few moments. Ryan, Walter Cruz, D. Martin Fifth, Dave Scheffler, welcome. Brian Spencer, CC Drink, Gomer Kyle, welcome. We kicked off the show with the Bloodline cutting a promo. Paul Heyman had spoken to Roman Reigns. Heyman said history was about to unfold, and all of a sudden, we had Judgment Day show up. Now, Roman Reigns apparently set this all up, a short-term deal. There was some tension. Damian Priest had a little stare down with Solo Sikoa, and once again, Rhea Ripley and Solo Sikoa had a brief stare down. Heyman said that they are all going to put their differences aside. Finn Balor has his history with Roman Reigns. Rhea said that everything would be okay between the two sides for now. Solo Sikoa would take care of Rey Mysterio for Judgment Day, and then in turn, Judgment Day would take out Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle. And it was confirmed at Judgment Day, not the pay-per-view, at Backlash. Backlash and Judgment Day used to be back-to-back. At Backlash, it will be a six-man tag team match. Zayn, Owens, and Riddle against the Judgment Day. This set up our first match of the evening, which was Rey Mysterio versus Solo Sikoa. Rey went for an early cover, only got a 1 count. Solo dominated the early part of the match. Rey did manage to build up some momentum for a while. He avoided the hip attack from Solo. Solo, however, caught Rey with a Samoan drop, and then Rey recovered from that. Rey hit the 619, followed by a splash, but Solo kicked out. The Usos then showed up. LWO ran down to even the odds. Rey hit another 619, went to the top rope for the big splash, but Solo moved. And then Solo hit the Samoan spike to pick up the victory. And then after the match was over, the Bloodline destroyed the LWO, and the Usos took out Rey with the 1D. Bloodline seemingly holding up their end of the short-term deal with Judgment Day. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Much appreciated. Said, today in history, in 2000, Chris Jericho shockingly wins the WWF title from Triple H on Monday Night Raw. The decision would immediately be reversed. The crowd pop for that moment was something I'll never forget. Chris Jericho winning the title. Fans were totally fine with that. In fact, they were more than fine with it. They were so happy for that moment, but then it got taken away, and it would be over a year before Jericho would officially become a world champion. Thank you for that super chat. Back to Raw. Match between Rey and Solo was good. Solo continuing to look strong. We had Bianca Belair versus Dakota Kai with Damage Control out there, and it was very basic, not much to it. Dakota did get in some offense, and she avoided the KOD by grabbing at Bianca's braid. However, Dakota missed her running knee, and Bianca finally was able to hit the KOD, Kiss of Death, and score the 1-2-3 victory. I mean, no surprise here. They're just doing this match to set up Bianca Belair versus Io Sky, and my guess is Bianca will also win that match. Not really sure what's going to happen with Damage Control in the draft, but I feel like this is probably the end of Damage Control. And yeah, it was one of Dakota's better matches since debuting on the main roster. But to me, it was very predictable how this was ending. And I'm still not really that invested in Bianca versus Io Sky, even though I'm sure it will be a good match. I still remember Bianca taking out everybody in Damage Control 3-on-1, and Bianca still took them out back in September, October, whenever it was. And that just sticks in my memory. We had a little video package for Bronson Reed. And when he was a kid, he was called Mr. Nice Guy. But of course, the joke is that he's actually not a nice guy. He is a vicious son of a bitch. We had Paul Heyman approaching Judgment Day backstage, and they asked if the Bloodline was... Actually, Paul Heyman asked if Judgment Day was satisfied with what the Bloodline did, and Finn Balor was like, eh. And Heyman wanted to make sure that Judgment Day held up their end of the bargain and not end up in debt to the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And Finn Balor, smart guy, like when he goes, he's like, well, you did not take out Rey Mysterio or LWO on a stretcher. They could very well return at the end of the show. Spoiler alert. Balor knew, like, that wasn't a good enough job. We had Cody Rhodes come into the ring for a promo. And he said that he knows what he wants to talk about. He knows who he wants to talk to. He called out Brock Lesnar, but instead, Adam Pearce showed up, said that Cody is not medically cleared to wrestle. Crowd was chanting, "We want Brock." And Pearce asked Cody to leave the ring. Cody did, but then grabbed the chair from under the ring, got back in, and Pearce had to bring out security. Brock Lesnar finally shows up, looking like he stole the Undertaker's wardrobe. He had the heavy jacket, the black jacket with the cowboy hat, the black hat, looking very much like the Undertaker. And Adam Pearce said that if Cody would not get in a fight here, he'll get his match with Brock Lesnar at the Backlash Premium Live event. Brock Lesnar stood there, looked menacing, and laughed, walked away. And then Cody attacked the security, and Cody beat them up, then got on the mic again, said that he grew up around cowboys, and Lesnar is not a cowboy. He is a coward. And that was the end of the promo. So it is official. Cody Rhodes versus Undertaker, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania Backlash, or Backlash, whatever the hell we're calling it. Segment was fine. Like, it was a basic segment, but at least it wasn't another pull apart brawl. They found a different way to have the security out there and have them get beat up and that sort of thing. And it's always fun to look at the security guards and wonder, is one of these guys going to be a major star 10 years from now? And we'll look back, and this was his first big moment before he became famous. Seth Rollins sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, Brock is Walker, Texas Ranger. I've seen a lot of comparisons to that guy too. Chuck Norris, Walker, Texas Ranger, Undertaker, Cowboy Brock, dressed in black with that new sinister attitude, I suppose. We still don't even know why he attacked Cody. No word from Brock. He just showed up and Adam Pearce made the match. That was that. We had Seth freaking Rollins versus The Miz, which was probably the biggest surprise of the show. Like, I was not expecting much. Like, hell, I thought this was maybe going to be like a quick squash match almost, but it was competitive. Miz held his own, and the match got a good amount of time. Ryan said that Brock looked like Dustin Rhodes 7 from WCW. All he needed was the white face paint. Then he could have definitely gone for that look. So Miz attacked Rollins during Rollins's entrance, and it was definitely not one-sided. Crowd was into this too. They were chanting tiny balls at the Miz. Rollins avoided the skull-crushing finale. Miz tried to win using the trunks. He put on the figure 4, tried to get Rollins to submit, but Rollins reached the rope. Miz hit 2 DDTs. Rollins kicked out. Crowd started chanting, "This is awesome." Miz tried a top rope skull-crushing finale, but Rollins turned it into the superplex and Falcon Arrow combo, and then won with the curb stomp. Really good match here. Even though it was predictable, like no chance Miz was winning this, it was still a very good match and surprisingly competitive. So I did enjoy it quite a bit. Endeavor Representative sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, "This is the Cody segment we should have gotten last week. After I voiced my displeasure with last week, Vince got very anxious about losing the deal." Yeah, maybe he did, Endeavor Representative. That could be it right there. D. Martin 5th sent in a $5 super chat. Says, Brock channeling his inner Red Dead Redemption with Sting's old trench coat. I mean, yes, Sting had a very similar trench coat. A lot of comparisons with that Brock Lesnar outfit. That's for damn sure. You can make an argument for any of them. And as far as Seth Rollins goes, what's he doing? Well, I think he's going to SmackDown. I think he's going over there, although with the Trish Stratus storyline, maybe not so fast. But I want to see Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins should be Roman's final match before reaching 1,000, because Rollins is the one guy that Roman did not actually beat as champion. So I think they got to do that match, like do it on the SmackDown before the Night of Champions premium live event. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, you don't like matches that are too predictable. That is true, but there can be matches I enjoy if they're predictable, but it's the right story and it's executed well. But yeah, a lot of the time, if I feel the match is too blatantly obvious how it's going to play out, especially if there's not much of a story, if it's a cold match where it's just two guys being booked out there, whether it's Seth Rollins versus The Miz, and this was actually more enjoyable than I was expecting. But we see it a lot in AEW where it's very clear who's winning. You know, Bryan Danielson versus one of the guys from the firm. You know who's winning. And I'm like, whatever, man. Like it's just filler. I mean, I've seen so much over the years, and I like when I can be a little bit surprised, but at the same time, it's a balance. I definitely like the stories to make sense, and even if something's obvious, like it can still be good. It's just a matter of the execution. Endeavor Representative sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I have firmly told Vince no more contract signings. Well, that's how we'll know if this is a legitimate account or not. If there are no more contract signings, then this might actually be an Endeavor representative for all we know. Imagine that if it was legitimately somebody from Endeavor and not a troll account. That would be something, right? We had a backstage segment with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle was joking and talking about his toe bro, like just like Solo Sikoa wraps up his thumb. Riddle could do that with his toe and call it the toe bro. And Kevin Owens was not amused. But then Riddle got serious, said he's not stupid. He knows what the Bloodline did to him, and he's not there to be an idiot. He is there to kick some ass. We had a recap of Trish Stratus's turn against Lita, not Lita. Well, actually, Lita and Trish Stratus, or Lita and Becky Lynch. Trish Stratus's turn against Lita and Becky Lynch. There, I said it correctly. They showed a recap of that, and they hyped up Trish coming out there. But before that, we had Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory, the United States champion. Why are we booking this match? Like, Theory does not need to be looking weak, and neither does Lashley. So the only way this match can end is like a non-finish, a DQ, a count-out. Anyways, match was all right. I still don't care about Theory all that much. Like, they've been trying with him. He beat John Cena at WrestleMania, but I'm still not feeling him all that much. His matches are good, especially when he's in there with somebody like a Seth Rollins. And this was okay, but I mean, Lashley dominated a good part of it. Theory then got in a little bit of offense and avoided a spear, but then Lashley put on the Hurt Lock and was about to beat Theory. And that's when Bronson Reed comes in for the disqualification. Theory disappears, and Bronson Reed just absolutely destroys Bobby Lashley with a little help from Theory, too. Theory kicked Lashley, and then Bronson Reed Samoa drop, went up top, tsunami, took out Lashley. I'm guessing we'll be seeing that match at the Backlash Premium Live event. They booked themselves into a corner again. And how many times have we seen Theory versus Lashley? Maybe that's a sign Vince is back in some kind of creative spot, because we're starting to get a lot of these rematches that when Triple H first took over, it was not really happening. Like, we were getting fresh matchups. Now we keep getting Bobby Lashley and Theory and various other repeat matches. And hopefully this isn't a new trend. We had Trish Stratus come into the ring, and I know this is blasphemy and some people are not going to like this, but I did not think this was a great segment. First of all, WWE was way overdoing it with the piped boos. Like, it was just painfully obvious that it was not legit crowd heat. People were either cheering or they were chanting "what" at her when she was cutting this promo. Her delivery, I also thought, Jeff isn't going to like me for this. I didn't think her delivery was that great. It felt like she was a little nervous, having to recite the script. That's what it felt like to me. Didn't really feel authentic. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of this. She talked about, basically, long story short, she said that women's wrestling was a joke when she came into WWE. She said she was the reason that everything changed, not Lita. It was just her. And the fans should have chanted "Trish is awesome" at WrestleMania 35 when Becky Lynch won the women's title. And Becky is a joke, according to her. Becky never thanked her. And Trish said that she is nobody's sidekick. She had to make an example out of Becky Lynch. And she said she was the one that took out her best friend Lita, so she could make it clear to everyone that she was the one that screwed Becky out of the tag team titles. Trish said that she is the greatest of all time, and she is going to make sure that nobody forgets it. So, I mean, reading it on paper sounded like a good promo, but I do feel like it felt too overly scripted, and the crowd chanting "what" at her with the very loud, clearly piped in boos on top of it. I just really wasn't feeling this promo. And I know it's going to be a bit of a controversial take, a polarizing take, because I know everybody loves Trish and they want to see this storyline succeed, as do I. But Yeah, so far I'm not feeling it. I'm not buying into it. I don't know if heel Trish can even work in 2023. I mean, they're going to try here, obviously, but it just feels forced. It feels forced to me. It doesn't feel natural. Now, maybe when we get them in the ring, it'll change. But the fact that they had to pipe in all those boos makes me think they don't have a lot of confidence in this. So I'm a little worried for it, but we'll see. I mean, they got plenty of time. If this is going to SummerSlam, they have a lot of time to build this up. Moving on here, we had Candice LeRae and Michin versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. And the tag champs Liv Morgan and Raquel were at ringside. Showcase match. Not much to it. Not a lot of heat. Michin got in some offense, but then Sonya Deville was able to tag in Chelsea Green, and Chelsea pinned Michin, Mia, whatever her name is. And after the match was over, Chelsea threw a drink on the champions, and then Sonya and Chelsea ran off and got away. That match is happening on SmackDown. Not much to it, just giving the challengers a win before they ultimately lose. Hamp Kano with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, legends as heels do not work. They get cheered. Well, that is very true. It's really tough. I mean, some can make it work. But yeah, like Ric Flair, by the time 1998 and 99 rolled around, like they tried to turn Flair heel and it was a disaster. Nobody wanted to boo Ric Flair. And I mean, they had him heel with Evolution as a manager, and it kind of worked there. But at that point, Ric Flair wasn't a top draw anymore. You know, he was basically there to enhance the other talent. But there's a lot of examples of guys that are legends and the company tries to turn them heel. I really want to see Trish have one more run, and maybe it'll get great. We'll see. I mean, I'm definitely not gonna just write it all off until I see how it plays out. Like it's the first week, but yeah, so far I'm a little worried about it, but we'll see. We had a little backstage segment with the Street Profits, Rick Boogs, Elias, Baron Corbin, Tozawa, just to get these guys some TV time. They were all talking about the draft and the possibilities, and Corbin got made fun of, and Elias got made fun of, and yeah, just something for these guys to do and get their faces plastered on TV so we remember they still exist. And then we had the main event of the evening, which was the 6-man tag team match, Judgment Day, going up against Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Matt Riddle, bro. Rhea Ripley kept interfering during the match. She clotheslined Kevin Owens, and then Sami Zayn got a hot tag, and Rhea pushed Zayn off the top. And things started to break down. Rhea grabbed Sami Zayn's foot. Sami Zayn, though, was able to get back into it, and he hit the Blue Thunder Bomb on Dominic and got the 1-2-3 victory. No, he didn't. You guys should know, Blue Thunder Bomb never, ever, ever wins a match, except for like the 1 or 2 times that it did. But 99.9% of the time, that Blue Thunder Bomb ain't beating anybody. So KO tagged in, and he went for a swanton, but Dominic got his knees up. Balor tagged in and went for the coup de grace, but Kevin Owens was able to avoid it. KO hit the stunner on Balor. Sami Zayn hit Balor with the haluva kick, and then Riddle came in and finished off Balor with the floating bro. And Bloodline came in immediately when the match ended for the attack. Rey Mysterio and the LWO made the save. 619 to Dominic. Good guys were standing tall. We had a wild brawl to end the show. And I liked the ending. The ending was very entertaining. I like the brawl with all the groups out there. So it felt like kind of like an old school Raw ending from the Attitude Era or like 2001 during the Invasion. Definitely had that kind of vibe. So yeah, thumbs up for the ending of the show. Raw overall, though, I thought was decent, but kind of boring at times, kind of filler. So I give it a B minus. Miz and Rollins was really good. Main event was entertaining. So there were some highlights, and you got the Brock Lesnar segment with Cody to set up Backlash and the Trish promo for better or worse. They're moving forward with that. B minus. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, please support the channel by telling a friend to share, like, say yes to no DQ, hashtag stick to my shtick. And he said, I'm glad aren't doing that stupid combo theme for KO and Sami Zayn. I agree with you. I'm glad they didn't try to combine their theme songs. That would not be my favorite idea at this point. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, why does it feel like many mid-carders today aren't as entertaining as from the 1980s and 90s? If you're on TV, try to have interesting characters. Well, the 1980s characters were very cartoonish, and wrestling went in a more reality-based direction. But I would like to see some more charismatic characters and have wrestling rely more on the characters than the flips and doing all the high spots, which are great, but there's more risk of injury. And I think it's just better long term to focus on actual character development. Charisma is something to really cherish because it's not something you can necessarily learn. You either have it or you don't. Endeavor Representative sent in a $2 super chat. Says, C-. We here at Endeavor expect B+ and above. I'm surprised you guys would go that low. You should demand A quality shows every single week. And I agree with Jeff. Charisma and quality, but not occupations. That's crossing the line. Speaking of Jeff, so next Monday, I will not be here on the No DQ channel. Same thing with next Wednesday. The 24th and the 26th, I will not be here. But Jeff Meacham will be stepping in for me next week on Monday night and Wednesday night. Jeff Meacham is taking over Raw recap and Dynamite recap next week. So thank you, Jeff, for that. I appreciate that. You guys should tune in. Who knows? Jeff might bring in a special guest or two. I'm not sure what he has planned, but Jeff is taking over the channel on those 2 nights. And the No DQ review will be on Saturday. This Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So special night. I will plug it on social media. I'll mention the streams for next week. The Meacham World Order is taking over next Monday night and next Wednesday night. So we'll see what Jeff has up his sleeve for those nights. And I'll be back this Wednesday for Dynamite. And then, of course, SmackDown on Friday. And then No DQ review Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That's all I got for now. Follow Jeff Meacham at the Jeff Meacham Network. I'll give him a quick plug since he's filling in for me next Wednesday and Monday. There you go. Follow Jeff at those outlets on YouTube. And, of course, the rest of the Jeff Meacham Network crew. Make sure you guys follow them. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. And I will see you all on Wednesday. Remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. Wait a minute. Before we go, Seth Rollins sent in a $2 super chat. Says, did he buy you out like Vince McMahon did WCW? Not quite, but Jeff is a good friend and he's filling in, and it's much appreciated. So that's all I got to say about that. No buyout or anything like that, but you never know. Never say never, right? Maybe one day Jeff will shock the world and purchase no DQ. Anything's possible, right? It is wrestling after all. So that's it, everybody. Take care. I will see you all next time.